Have you ever asked yourself why the moment people pass 65, many start speaking as if everything meaningful is already over? I'm going to speak to you directly as a longevity doctor because this assumption has never matched what I've seen in biology or in real patients. The human body is made of roughly 37 trillion cells, and most of them are not static. They are constantly repairing, renewing, and replacing older structures through natural maintenance processes. With the right stimulation, daily physiological activity can influence regenerative turnover involving hundreds of billions and even approaching 2 trillion cellular repair events across tissues. Aging does not shut this down. It simply means the system needs stronger signals to stay efficient. And some of the most powerful signals are triggered during the first hour after waking, when hormone balance, circulation direction, and metabolic messaging are being set for the day. I've seen patients walk in convinced their timeline was shrinking, only to shift stability and mental clarity after reshaping small morning actions tied to circadian rhythm, which is the internal clock coordinating sleep cycles, digestion timing, and tissue recovery. These are not miracle shortcuts. They are behavioral levers that influence how effectively cells allocate resources toward repair instead of passive decline. Think of your morning as issuing operating instructions to trillions of workers inside your body, deciding whether to rebuild or coast. In this video, we will reveal 5 morning habits ranked from supportive to most impactful. And stay with me because number 3 was linked in longevity tracking data to effects strong enough that early reviewers underestimated its influence on daily cellular renewal signaling. Research sources and supporting material are organized in the description area for those curious to explore further. Before we dive in, here's a quick question. How old are you and what country are you watching from? And have you noticed changes in how your mornings feel? Share below because I genuinely spend time reading and responding to your messages so your stories guide future topics. Now let's begin with number 5, because what you're about to discover about this first habit is something many viewers never realized could quietly reset the direction of their entire day. Number 5. Wake up and drink water before anything else. This might sound almost too simple to be important, but that is exactly why so many people overlook it and pay the price without ever realizing what went wrong. While you sleep, your body does not stop working. Your heart keeps beating, your lungs keep breathing, your cells keep repairing themselves. And all of that uses water. By the time you open your eyes in the morning, you have gone 6 to 8 hours without a single drop of fluid. A study published in the Journal of Clinical Endocrinology and Metabolism found that even mild dehydration, as little as 1 to 2% of your body weight in fluid loss, can reduce cognitive function by up to 25%. For seniors, this is especially dangerous because the thirst mechanism weakens with age. Your brain literally becomes worse at telling you that you need water. So you wake up dehydrated, your blood is thicker than it should be, your blood pressure is unstable, and your kidneys are working overtime with insufficient fluid. Researchers at Loma Linda University conducted a 6-year study and found that men who drank 5 or more glasses of water per day had a 54% lower risk of fatal heart attack compared to those who drank 2 or fewer glasses. For women, the reduction was 41%, and the single most impactful glass, according to cardiologists, is the very first one you drink in the morning. When you drink water on an empty stomach first thing after waking, it jumpstarts your metabolism. A German research team found that drinking about 500 milliliters of water after waking increased metabolic rate by 30% within 10 minutes, and that boost lasted over an hour. But there is more to it than metabolism. That morning glass of water also stimulates peristalsis, the wave-like muscle contractions in your digestive tract that move waste through your system. This is why so many people who struggle with constipation, which is incredibly common after 65, find relief simply by drinking water before breakfast. The best way to get maximum benefit is to keep a glass of room temperature water on your nightstand, so it is the very first thing you reach for. Room temperature is better than ice cold because your body absorbs it faster without spending energy warming it up. Aim for about 16 ounces, which is 2 standard cups. Drink it slowly over 5 to 10 minutes because sipping allows your stomach to absorb it more efficiently. If plain water feels boring, squeeze in a small amount of fresh lemon for vitamin C, but avoid adding sugar or any sweetener. Do this every single morning before coffee, before tea, before breakfast, before anything, and within a week you will likely notice better energy, clearer thinking, and more regular digestion. But staying hydrated is just the foundation, because what comes next could protect you from one of the biggest threats seniors face every single day. But before we continue, if you have been enjoying the video so far, hit the like button and don't forget to subscribe and hit the bell icon so you don't miss more videos like this. Number 4. Step outside for 10 minutes of morning sunlight. There is a reason why people in the blue zones, which are the 5 regions around the world where people consistently live past 100, all share one thing in common. They spend significant time outdoors in natural light, especially in the morning. This is not a coincidence, and modern science has finally figured out exactly why sunlight in the early hours is so powerful for longevity. When morning sunlight enters your eyes, it triggers your suprachiasmatic nucleus, which is a tiny cluster of about 20,000 nerve cells in your brain that acts as your master biological clock. This clock controls your circadian rhythm, which is basically the internal schedule that tells your body when to be awake, when to sleep, when to release hormones, and when to repair damaged cells. A landmark study published in the journal Sleep found that people who got most of their light exposure early in the day had significantly better sleep quality, lower body mass index, and reduced risk of depression compared to those who got their light exposure later. For seniors, this matters enormously because circadian rhythm disruption has been directly linked to increased risk of Alzheimer's disease, cardiovascular disease, and metabolic disorders. Dr. Andrew Huberman, a neuroscientist at Stanford, has explained extensively that just 10 minutes of natural sunlight within the first hour of waking sets off a cascade of beneficial processes. It tells your brain to start producing cortisol in a healthy way, which gives you natural energy and alertness without the jittery feeling you get from caffeine. Then, roughly 12 to 14 hours later, your brain knows to start producing melatonin, the hormone that helps you fall asleep and stay asleep through the night. And deep restorative sleep is where your body does its most critical repair work, clearing out toxic proteins in the brain that are associated with dementia and rebuilding damaged tissues throughout the body. But morning sunlight does something else that is absolutely critical for seniors. It activates vitamin D production in your skin. A meta-analysis published in the British Medical Journal that reviewed data from over 800,000 participants found that low vitamin D levels were associated with a 57% increase in all-cause mortality. Your body cannot absorb calcium properly without adequate vitamin D, which means your bones become weaker and more prone to fractures. And after 65, a hip fracture can be genuinely life-threatening, with studies showing that up to 30% of seniors who suffer a hip fracture die within a year. The best approach to getting this morning sunlight is simpler than most people think. You do not need to sit in direct sun for an hour or risk sunburn. Just step outside within the first 60 minutes of waking and spend 10 minutes in natural daylight. You can walk to your mailbox, sit on your porch with your morning water, or simply stand in your yard. You do not need to stare at the sun. Just being outside where the light can reach your eyes and skin is enough. If it is a cloudy day, you actually still benefit because outdoor light on an overcast morning is still significantly brighter than indoor lighting. On days when you genuinely cannot go outside, sitting by a large window that gets morning light is the next best option, though it is less effective because glass blocks the UV rays needed for vitamin D production. Try to make this a non-negotiable part of your routine right after your morning water. The combination of hydration and sunlight in the first 30 minutes of your day creates a foundation of physical and mental wellness that supports everything else you do. Now that your body is hydrated and your internal clock is properly set, the next habit is going to strengthen the one thing that determines whether you stay independent or end up needing full-time care. Number 3. To 15 minutes of gentle movement and balance work. Here's a fact that most people do not know, and it is one of the most important facts about aging that exists. After the age of 30, you begin losing 3 to 5% of your muscle mass every single decade. This process is called sarcopenia, and after 65, it accelerates dramatically. But the loss of muscle is not even the scariest part. What is far more dangerous is the loss of balance and functional mobility that comes with it, because falls are the number one cause of injury-related death in adults over 65. The Centers for Disease Control reports that every single year, 1 out of every 4 seniors will experience a fall. And once you fall and break something, your risk of dying within the next 12 months skyrockets. A study published in the British Medical Journal found that seniors who engaged in regular balance and strength training exercises reduced their risk of falls by 23%. And a separate study from the University of Sydney found that older adults who did even light resistance training just twice a week had a 46% lower risk of all-cause mortality compared to those who did none. The morning is the ideal time for this because your cortisol levels are naturally elevated after waking, which gives your muscles better access to energy. Your joints have also had all night to rest, and once you get moving, the synovial fluid in your joints starts circulating, which acts like natural lubrication that reduces stiffness and pain. This does not mean you need to go to a gym or do anything extreme. We are talking about gentle, purposeful movement that takes about 15 minutes and can be done right in your living room. Start with simple standing exercises where you hold onto a chair for support if needed. Heel-to-toe walking, where you place one foot directly in front of the other like you are walking on a tightrope, is one of the most effective balance exercises ever studied. Do this for about 10 steps forward and 10 steps back. Then try standing on one foot for 15 to 30 seconds on each side, holding the chair if necessary. Add in some gentle squats where you slowly lower yourself toward a chair and then stand back up, which builds the quadricep muscles that are essential for getting up from seated positions and climbing stairs. Calf raises where you simply rise up onto your toes and back down strengthen the muscles that stabilize your ankles. Do 10 to 15 repetitions of each exercise, moving slowly and deliberately. The key to getting maximum benefit is consistency over intensity. You do not need to push yourself to exhaustion. You need to show up every morning and do these movements with intention. Research from Tufts University showed that even frail nursing home residents in their 90s were able to increase their muscle strength by up to 175% with consistent light resistance training over just 8 weeks. That is the power of daily movement. Your muscles are waiting to respond no matter how old you are. The morning routine of hydration, sunlight, and movement together create a trifecta that addresses your cardiovascular system, your hormonal balance, and your musculoskeletal system all before breakfast. And speaking of breakfast, the next habit is going to directly fuel your brain and could be the key to keeping your memory sharp well into your 90s. Number 2. Eat a protein-rich breakfast with brain-boosting nutrients. If you are one of those people who skips breakfast or just has a piece of toast and coffee, the research says you are making one of the most consequential mistakes of your day. A study published in the Journal of the American College of Nutrition followed over 50,000 adults and found that breakfast skippers had an 87% higher risk of cardiovascular mortality compared to those who ate a substantial morning meal. But it is not just about eating something. It is about eating the right things, and for seniors, the single most important nutrient to prioritize in the morning is protein. After 65, your body becomes significantly less efficient at processing and using protein, a condition researchers call anabolic resistance. This means you actually need more protein than a younger person to maintain the same amount of muscle, yet most seniors eat far less than they need. The current research suggests that seniors should aim for 25 to 30 grams of protein at breakfast, which is roughly double what the average older adult currently consumes in the morning. Protein in the morning does something critical. It provides your muscles with the amino acids they need for repair, especially leucine, which is the specific amino acid that triggers muscle protein synthesis. A study from the University of Texas found that distributing protein evenly across meals, with a strong emphasis on breakfast, resulted in 25% greater muscle protein synthesis compared to eating the same total amount of protein, but loading most of it at dinner, which is what most people do. A powerful morning meal for seniors would look something like 2 or 3 eggs, which provide about 18 grams of high-quality protein along with choline, a nutrient that is essential for brain function and memory. Add a serving of Greek yogurt, which contributes another 15 grams of protein along with probiotics that support gut health. Include a handful of blueberries or other dark-colored berries, which are loaded with anthocyanins, the compounds that give them their deep color and have been shown in studies from Tufts University to slow brain aging by up to 2.5 years. A small serving of walnuts or almonds adds healthy omega-3 fats that reduce inflammation throughout your body, including in your brain. If you prefer a warm breakfast, oatmeal made with milk instead of water significantly increases the protein content, and you can stir in a scoop of protein powder to boost it even further. The brain-boosting aspect of this morning meal cannot be overstated. Your brain consumes roughly 20% of your entire daily calorie intake, and after a full night without food, it is essentially running on empty. The combination of protein for neurotransmitter production, healthy fats for cell membrane integrity, and antioxidants for protection against oxidative stress creates the optimal environment for clear thinking, strong memory, and stable mood throughout the day. A study from the Rush University Memory and Aging Project found that seniors who consumed a diet rich in these specific nutrients had a rate of cognitive decline that was equivalent to being 7.5 years younger. Prepare your breakfast ingredients the night before if mornings feel rushed. Hard-boil a batch of eggs at the start of each week so they are ready to grab. Pre-portion your nuts and berries into small containers. The easier you make it, the more likely you are to stick with it every single day. And consistency is what transforms a habit into a life-extending routine. Now, everything you have done so far has prepared your body, your brain, your muscles, and your internal clock for the day ahead. But the number one habit is the one that ties all of it together, and the science behind it is so powerful that researchers are calling it one of the most underrated predictors of longevity ever studied. Number 1. Practice 5 to 10 minutes of intentional breathing and gratitude. This is the habit that researchers did not expect to be so powerful, and yet study after study keeps confirming that it might be the single most important thing you can do each morning for a longer, healthier life. A massive study from Japan that tracked over 90,000 adults for more than 7 years found that people who practiced daily mindful activities, including focused breathing and gratitude reflection, had a 30% lower risk of dying from any cause during the study period. To put that in perspective, some of the most celebrated medications in modern medicine do not produce effects that large, and a separate study published in JAMA Internal Medicine reviewed 47 clinical trials and concluded that mindfulness practices significantly reduced anxiety, depression, and chronic pain, all of which are conditions that directly accelerate aging and shorten lifespan. The reason this works so powerfully comes down to your nervous system. Your body has 2 main operating modes. There is the sympathetic nervous system, your fight or flight mode, and the parasympathetic nervous system, your rest and repair mode. When you are stressed or anxious, your body pumps out cortisol and adrenaline. These hormones are life-saving in an emergency, but when they are chronically elevated, which is extremely common in older adults dealing with health concerns, financial stress, or loneliness, they become toxic. Chronic stress literally shrinks the hippocampus, the brain region responsible for memory and learning. It weakens your immune system, raises blood pressure, increases inflammation, and damages the lining of your blood vessels. A study from the University of California, San Francisco, found that chronic stress actually shortens your telomeres, the protective caps on the ends of your chromosomes that determine how fast your cells age. Shorter telomeres mean faster biological aging and earlier death. Intentional breathing reverses this process. When you take slow, deep breaths, specifically breathing in for 4 seconds, holding for 4 seconds, and exhaling for 6 to 8 seconds, you directly activate the vagus nerve, the longest nerve in your body, and the main highway of your parasympathetic system. This immediately lowers heart rate, reduces blood pressure, decreases cortisol, and shifts your body into repair mode. Dr. Herbert Benson at Harvard Medical School found that just 10 minutes of intentional breathing changed the expression of hundreds of genes, turning on genes associated with healing while turning off genes associated with inflammation and disease. Adding gratitude amplifies the effect significantly. Research from UC Davis found that people with a daily gratitude practice had 23% lower cortisol levels, better sleep, and measurable improvements in heart health. The way to practice this is beautifully simple. Sit comfortably, close your eyes, and breathe slowly using the 4-4-6 pattern for about 5 minutes. Then bring to mind 3 specific things you are grateful for. They do not have to be grand. The warmth of sunlight on your face, a phone call from your child, waking up without pain today. The key is to actually feel the gratitude in your body. Let the warmth of it sit in your chest. Research shows that this emotional engagement is what triggers the neurochemical changes that protect your brain and body. This entire practice takes less than 10 minutes, costs nothing, requires no equipment, and can be done sitting in your favorite chair. Now here is what makes all 5 of these morning habits truly extraordinary. Each one of them is powerful on its own, but when you combine them into a single morning routine, they do not just add up. They multiply each other's effects. The water prepares your body to function. The sunlight sets your biological clock and produces vitamin D. The movement strengthens your muscles and bones. The protein-rich breakfast fuels your brain and repairs your tissues. And the breathing with gratitude switches your entire nervous system into healing mode. Together, this morning routine takes roughly 45 minutes to an hour, and it addresses every single major system in your body that determines how long and how well you live. You do not need expensive supplements. You do not need a gym membership. You do not need to make dramatic, painful changes to your life. You just need to make these 5 things the first priority of your morning, every single morning, starting tomorrow. If this information opened your eyes to what is possible for your health after 65, please subscribe to this channel so you never miss another video that could add years to your life. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you in the next one.